This is Boom Bust, and here are some of the stories we're tracking for you today. First up, JP Morgan loves nepotism, especially in China. Now, that's according to new documents unearthed and published in the New York Times. We're going to tell you all about it coming right up. And one of the sexiest metals known to man is behind some of the most criminal behavior the world has ever seen. Gold. It's a complex thing, and the best-selling author Matthew Hart knows a thing or two about it. He joins me to discuss his new book, aptly titled Gold. And finally, in today's big deal, Rachel Kurzius and I talk about the state battle for Boeing, and I'm not talking about archery. No, I'm not. You won't want to miss it, and it all starts right now. And the world's hunger for gold is as strong today as it's ever been. And the depths people are willing to go, both literally and figuratively, in the name of securing the precious metal, are extreme, to say the very least. Now, here to discuss the seductive metal is Matthew Hart, best-selling author of Diamond, and whose latest book is very appropriately titled Gold. Now, Matthew, thank you for joining us, and I want to start off by asking you, why are people buying so much gold today?
Oh, well, it started off, really, we're at the end of a 13-year gold binge. It started in 2000 when the price of gold was about $280 an ounce, and a 10-year bull run began. The afterburners really went on under the price in 2008 when Lehman Brothers collapsed. You know, analysts call gold the emotive metal, and the emotion at the time seems to have been panic. Gold loves panic. It dines on panic. It fattens on panic. And the afterburners, as I say, kicked on under the gold price. In less than 3 years, it shot from $800 an ounce to almost $1,900 an ounce as investment money poured into gold from other shakier assets. And what assets didn't look shakier? So that's what brought the high gold price. And that at the same time stimulated a global gold rush, the likes of which the world has never seen. I mean, you think of a gold rush, you think of California, and in 10 years, in the California gold rush, they produced 850 tons of bullion. Well, we produce today 850 tons of bullion in 4 months, and the world trades $20 trillion worth of bullion every year. As much bullion is traded on the London bullion market in a 3-month period as has been mined in all of history. So that's the kind of gold scene now. Wow,
those numbers are pretty staggering. Now, gold, it has some functional purposes, but it's limited in comparison to something like steel. So my question to you is, why is gold so appealing relative to other commodities?
You know, people have been scratching their heads over this for years. Why does gold have any value, since its utilitarian purposes are so few? I mean, it's used in computer circuits. They coat the visors of astronauts' visors with thin film of gold because it's very reflective. But generally speaking, the big surge in the price of gold has been driven by investment. But where does that come from? Why do we value gold? If you look back, the best answer you can really come up with, like the really short answer, is we value gold because we always have. And we never knew how long we'd been valuing gold, how far back that passion for this metal went, until 1972, when a backhoe operator in the town of Varna on the Black Sea coast in Bulgaria, he was working on the foundation for an apartment building, accidentally unearthed a Neolithic tomb. So they send for the archaeologists, they show up, open the tomb, and there inside was a treasure of gold artifacts 6,000 years old. So Neolithic people, 6,000 years ago, were making these absolutely beautiful little ornaments, little antelopes with curled horns and tiny little breastplates, all kinds of beautiful things with no utilitarian value at all. So what attracted them to gold? Why gold instead of something else? We can only guess, because they didn't leave a written record. But it's not hard to guess. Gold was shiny, bright, it didn't corrode, it lasted, it didn't rust. In a harsh world, it was beautiful. And since it was soft, they could shape it into lovely things. So that's the first stage of gold. That's the first stage where it gets its value. It's inherited.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to get to, I have so many questions, and I just love your book. I've been leafing it all night long the night before. But you cover a lot of history in your book, and in one of my favorite passages, you write that, quote, gold reflects the society that uses it. I just love that. Question to you, how so, and can you expand upon this? You started to, and I just wanted to get that in before you continue.
Well, it does. I mean, we live in a very, very commercial, I mean, our adventure stories are almost business stories, so gold is kind of a business story today. But if you look back in history, let's go back to the discovery of the New World, since you raised the idea of history and gold reflecting the society that uses it. In 1400, Europe is running out of gold. They need gold. The mints are running out of gold. Nations need gold. They need gold to pay their armies to run their states. So they go looking for gold, and the Spanish head west across the Atlantic Ocean. Now, the cover story for that is that they're looking for souls to bring into the heavenly kingdom. They're looking for souls to convert to Christianity. So in his journal, Christopher Columbus mentions God 26 times, but he mentions gold 116 times. So what were they really looking for? It was a gold rush. Let's take the conquest of the Inca. The Spanish march into the Andes, just 160 men, 168 men, march into the Andes and confront this colossal empire, the Inca Empire. And since the Spanish had superior weapons, they were able to cut down, entice the Inca, which was the name of the ruler as well as the civilization, entice the Inca to a meeting, and in a confined space, fire cannon at them and cut them down. They just had sort of like bronze armor. What the Spaniards then did was basically grind up that entire civilization, take all its beautiful ornaments, melt them down into gold bars, stamp them with the Spanish insignia, and send them off to Europe.
And there you had Spanish
they basically converted that civilization into money.
Unbelievable. Now, I want to move on to South Africa. You describe some of the South African ghost miners in your new book who live in these mining tunnels, and they rob them. And you write, quote, once they penetrate a mine, they stay down there for months, deprived of sunlight. Their skin turns gray. The wives and prostitutes who live with them turn gray. They inhabit an underground metropolis that in some gold fields can extend for 40 miles. I got to ask you, how do these ghost miners get down there in the first place?
Well, first of all, these mines are like underground cities. I mean, the mine that I visited, in Mpaneng mine, is 2.5 miles deep. So think of the whole of kind of like the upper west side of Manhattan stood up on its end. That's the size of that gold mine. 300 miles of tunnels, 10 times the height of the Empire State Building. You get on this elevator. I got on an elevator with 120 miners. They drop you down a chute at 46 feet a second, 1.5 miles. You go to another elevator, drop down another mile. By the time you walk out, you're in an environment that you might as well be stepping into a pizza oven. It's completely sweltering down there. Very, very hot. Now, as well as legitimate miners, there's this whole population of ghost miners. They bribe the security and use extortionate means. They compel security with force. Very, very well armed and very ruthless criminal gangs known as syndicates in South Africa control the theft of gold from gold mines. Very wide-scale theft.
It's incredible.
Once they infiltrate those ghost miners in, they have to leave them down for a long time because it's too much work to get them in and out.
Mr. Hart, that was the fastest 7-minute interview I've ever had. I hope to have you back on very soon because I have many more questions that I'd love to get to. But thank you for your time. That was Matthew Hart, author of the new book, Gold, The Race for the World's Most Seductive Metal.
Okay, thanks a lot.